Ladies and gentlemen, is yet another beautiful Thursday, and we are here at the Alternative Voice. I'm your host for tonight, Cleophas Oluoch. Yes, how have you been this week? Hopefully, you've been fine. So, here we are, and we are having our guest tonight who will be joining us shortly, and our discussion will be on agribusiness. Yes, that's our topic for today. We want to see how we can cultivate the art of entrepreneurship into the life of a youth, into the life of that young person, and how we young people can go deep inside the field of agriculture and earn a living. Joining us tonight is one man with wealth of knowledge when it comes to such business, and that's none other than Moses NYAKOYO, joining us live from Kisumu County. If you're joining us in this platform, this is the Alternative Voice, and we are live on Facebook and on YouTube. So karibu sana Moses, hapa ni jukwaa la vijana na tuko hapa kuzungumzia masuala ya vijana, na leo hii tunazungumzia agribusiness and how we can make this a reality in our society. So kindly tell us who you are to begin with, so that we can kickstart this conversation within this program and this broadcast tonight. Karibu.
Thank you, Sana Cleophas. My name, as you've said, is Moses NYAKOYO. I'm a co-founder of a company called Kijani Testing Limited, registered in Kenya, and we work with renewable energy, and we also work with farmers. So basically, we link renewable energy and innovation to farmers. I think that would be pretty much a simple introduction as I could give.
Thank you very much, Moses, for that beautiful introduction. And you are in Kisumu County, and it's a county that is well known for fish farming. Which kind of farming is your organization really dealing with when you say you support farming?
So yeah, interestingly, of course, as you say, Kisumu is very good with fish farming, but the farmers that I deal with mostly are farmers who deal with horticulture. So I'm talking about farmers who are growing this thing they call green grams, those who are growing maize, those are growing vegetables. So basically, I would say the entire scope within the horticulture. We do very little with fish farmers because the innovation that we offer are particularly designed to support those who are doing crop farming, as opposed to those who are doing aquaculture farming.
And so if you say you support such, and at the same time you are in the field of supporting the use of the renewable energy in our community, and now this is where these two, we want to bring them in, how to support these farmers who are trying to go out there and earn or make a living out of their farm produce. Na tunajua wengi wao wako katika slums na wengine wako katika rural areas. So how do you try to bring these individuals from where you are? Because I understand you have branches, and you cover not only Kisumu or even Nyanza, but you spread your wings even outside the western region of our country. So how do you ensure that you bring all these youth pamoja na kuhakikisha kwamba wanapata mapato mazuri kutokana na kilimo?
That's a good question. Ideally, what we do is, research is out there that has shown that there's a lot of potential from the soil, particularly in terms of agriculture. Research has also shown that traditional modes of farming has become very, very complex. The most common one had been rain-fed agriculture, which has not been performing well, particularly in the wake of global climate change. So with the innovation that we are talking about, we are trying to see how best would we make the work of the farmer easier, in terms of how can we come up with probably equipments, farm equipments that can help them deal with some of these challenges that are caused by nature. I'll give an example of a solar-powered water pump, which is some of the products that we deal with. So these products that we have are products that have been innovated, designed to make the work of a farmer easier in terms of, number one, affordability of the product. Number two, ability to sustain the product. Number three, ability to help them deal with the challenges of global warming and climate change. So if you talk about a farmer, someone who is taking, for instance, keeping, I would say, green grams, for instance, we are able to provide a particular pump that is designed to help them continuously irrigate their farm. So the farmer is able to benefit in terms of cost efficiency, because they're able to, you don't need to spend money. Once you get that pump, all you need to is to have sun. And the good thing is that Kenya, as it is, we are blessed with plenty of sun. Number two, it allows the farmer to be able to plan, as opposed to the unpredictable weather patterns. You're able to plan how you grow your crops. You're able to plan your production. And over the years that we've been working this, we've seen the livelihoods of most of these farmers, particularly the young men and women who are dealing with some of these products that we give them, has been able to change. We have seen people who have been able to improve their source of income from the farms. We have seen people who have been able to even support some of the community that they live around because of some of these products that we're offering. So indeed, innovation has become a very good link to helping farmers improve their output, and particularly the youth who are interested in farming. It's easier for them to bridge what innovation offers and what the farming environment would require.
And so thank you very much for that explanation, Moses. And I would like to get it from you. There is a gap when it comes to skills that we have gained from school and how we implement them. And I remember one of the conversations that we've had there before is how these graduates come from their learning institutions. It can be even from their technical institutions. And once they get out with their degree, let's say, for example, in agribusiness, from a university like Jomo Kenyatta University of Science, Agriculture and Technology, and also from other universities around the country, they get out and they really fail to find a space how they can link whatever they've learned and the practical aspect of it. What advice can you give to such a youth, or even that person who is just in a technical college and has those skills but not a platform to practice the art of agribusiness?
Yeah, I mean, what you say is actually it's a sword that is currently hurting the economy, and I think it's hurting economies around the world, because the gap between what is taught in class and what is happening on the ground is pretty much wide. But specifically for someone who has started agribusiness from a university like JKUAT, as you mentioned, it is good to be able to have an open mind. It is good to appreciate that a course like agribusiness should not only limit you to seeking employment, but should be able to open your mind to allow you to practice some of the things that you have learned. I know for sure that the African Development Bank Managing Director, it's called Adesina, yes, Dr. Adesina, in one of his speeches made a very powerful comment, which I would really want the young people to listen to, particularly those who are currently trying to see how to make ends meet. In one of his speeches, and this is someone who speaks from a point of very good research, because the position where he sits, he has access to, I would think, some of the best researchers available. So this is what he had to say. I quote, "By 2030, the size of the food and agribusiness in Africa will reach $1 trillion. So if you are thinking of how to make money, that is the sector to be in." So my advice to young people is take it upon yourself, get ready for this transformation that is coming up. And the transformation, as you heard from the African Development Managing Director, is purely going to be based on agribusiness. So that is my encouragement and the advice I would give the young people, Cleophas.
Thank you very much, Moses. And there's a very critical point that you've just raised on how Africa will be a source of the agricultural products now to the rest of the world. having that $1 trillion when it comes to agriculture. And now this brings me to this point where I want to ask you, the call to action that was put in place by the United Nations, that's the SDGs, if you can say the global goals. And they are all aligned to ensure that there's that good life and living in peaceful environment, and if I can say, to protect the planet and also to end poverty. And SDG number 1 and 2 propose that there is zero or no poverty, then zero hunger. And remember, in Kenya, we have agriculture as the backbone of our economy. So many people are trying to find or to get a living out of this field of agriculture, and now how to bring money to table. And so I ask you, the finances, because that's where many youth are really going down. How can these youth now come out and get the finances to ensure that, because wanasema for you to get this finance after kufanya agribusiness, lazima uta-invest. Now that investment part, because we have that process of you starting your agribusiness, it can be a business on its own. So there's that aspect of financing. On your case, how did you kickstart your farming process? Because I know you are a farmer and you own so many farms, if not one.
Yes, I do a bit of farming. I try a bit of farming here and there. But in terms of how to get these young people to get into farming, finance is actually a very big issue. It is an issue that has been there. It is going to continue to be there. I would think at the top of my head that the best way for young people to start getting into farming is to pull resources together. Waswahili wanasema umoja ni nguvu, utengano ni udhaifu. I think it is something very close to that. So my recommendation would have been for young people to pull resources together. If you can come up with a team of, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 people who are able to contribute the little resources that they have. It doesn't necessarily have to be money, but it can be even the time. It could even be just providing some of the farming equipment that are needed. If someone can be able to chip in terms of seeds and so on and so forth. So if you can pull resources together and probably work towards growing as a team as opposed to working as individuals. The challenge with working as an individual, particularly when it comes to farming, is there is a lot of small little things that are needed in between. And if you are a young person, you probably don't have that kind of income to sustainably do farming from the point of planting to the point of harvesting. But if you can come together as 5 people, it makes it a bit easier, a bit lighter burden in terms of provisions for some of these items that you have in the farm. I know, for instance, there are a bunch of young people from the area where I come from who are doing a bit of poultry farming, and it was a very interesting project that came across. It's a team that came together and decided, look, man, we want to do poultry farming. How do we set up a structure? And they would bring someone brought some abatis here and there, and they were able to set up a very nice house for the poultry. It's a project that they have had the ups and downs, to be very honest. But I think the level of commitment that I've seen from this group is very, very encouraging. So the best I would actually tell young people is try and come together, identify a team of people that you can share the interest with, particularly the interest of doing agribusiness, because I know that there's still this very not very good perception, particularly for the young people, that farming is for the elderly. That is not true. That is a very wrong perception that has really been able to let people feel a bit more discouraged in terms of getting into agribusiness. But yeah, I would really recommend that a team young people should come together, identify what they really feel they can work on as a common goal in terms of agriculture, and then pull resources together and get it off the ground.
Thank you very much, Moses. And on that note, we'll be coming back after getting the comments and the questions from the viewers joining us from all over the world. If you can say, we have listeners from Russia, we have listeners from Rwanda, Kigali, and we also have listeners from Nairobi, Kenya, and even those who are watching us abroad. We really thank you for your time tonight. And we are here talking about agribusiness. And our guest tonight is Moses NYAKOYO. We are talking more on agribusiness, so you can join our discussion live on or using the link on our comment section. And so if you can get the questions from the viewers as they tell us where they are watching us live from. And when we come back, we'll be talking more on the challenges that are there and the challenges that viewers, all those people who are in agribusiness, are seriously facing when it comes to government policies, be it local government policies, and how can we avoid such instances. So if we can get the questions from our producer. Yes, we have Jason Sagini, Askofu wa Sporty. Has the current Kenyan government done enough in the agribusiness sector to ensure that the youth have a strong basic foundation to start on? If not, let him pour out his ideas or ways for the government to stabilize this sector. Thank you very much, Sagini. And our guest tonight, Moses NYAKOYO, will be noting the questions down so that when we come back, he'll be in a position to address that. Thank you very much. If you can have the next question from Peter, that's presenter Mokaya. Peter Mokaya, what's the best market for agricultural products? That is internal market and even external, if you have the local market and even the external market. Yes, thank you very much, Mokaya, for tuning in. Even if you can get the comments for those people who are watching us, we really appreciate. Both on Facebook and on our YouTube platform, we have Millicent Ochieng watching us live from Kigali, Rwanda. Thank you very much, Millicent. And we have Angelica Karitu watching us from Nairobi, Amanyeri, Amanyaururu. Thank you very much, Angelica. We have Kevin Amuhaya tuned in, is watching us live on YouTube. Thank you very much, Kevo. And we have Brian Mullis Akeno. I'm here. Thank you very much. Watching us from Kondele, Kisumu. Thank you very much, Brian. Presenter Mokaya, locked. Tupo ndani kama kawaida. I know he's in Nairobi. Dr. Omamo Ndai, that was our speaker, guest speaker last week, but one. Daktari asante sana. That's a good talk from him. And watch live from YouTube. Esin Njoroge is following from Facebook. Thank you very much on that. And we would like to get, that was Sylvia Gitari. Thank you very much, Sylvia, for also joining this discussion live. You can send in your comment and even send your request to join this live conversation. So, Mr. Moses, if you can get to answer the first two questions that were from Jason Sagini and presenter Mokaya on the ideas.
Yes, those are very good questions from Jason and Mokaya. I would probably be tempted to bundle them because one is talking about the production aspect of it, and the other one is talking about the marketing aspect of it.
The market.
So,
yes.
in my opinion, I think the government of Kenya initially had a very good plan for agriculture. If I'm not wrong, a few years ago, 3-4 years ago, the government had even committed to provision of fertilizer, and they had partnered with some of the investment, our international partners for the provision of some of the farm equipment. Unfortunately, with the Kenyan environment, this was brought down by a lot of corruption, by a lot of bureaucracy. So this indeed did not really materialize as much as the government of Kenya had planned. If you look at, for instance, the Galana Kulalu project, which was a very beautiful initiative that had been put in place, it is a beautiful plan that is there on paper, but it has also been riddled with a lot of corruption and a lot of issues here and there. So it has not been able to take off. So in terms of what the government really needs to do is probably just work on implementing some of these policies to the latter, particularly being able to handle the major challenge of corruption that keeps on feeding into government plans and government policies. And that is a major challenge. I think the current regime is really trying to sort that out. We hope that is worked on. Tying that to the second question that came from Mokaya is about the market of the products. It will be interesting to note that the Kenyan market alone is already too big for what we produce. For instance, take the most basic crop, the maize. how is it possible that Kenya cannot produce enough maize to sustain its population? It shows you that the market is indeed there. That is why you find people rush to import maize into the country. The market is there. We are able to. I will give you an example. Even fish, for instance, Kenyan fish market is so huge to an extent that we are forced to import fish from China. Yet Kenya has got at least 3 freshwater lakes, if I'm not mistaken. Kenya has got the capacity to actually bring about proper fish farming to meet our market needs. So in terms of market, the market is available locally. There is also international market, which should only come as probably as a bonus to the market that we currently have. So I feel even the chicken that people are rearing, the Kenyan market is too big to be able to supply. So there's a lot of opportunity locally before you even get internationally. I mean, Cleophas, you probably have heard that people import eggs from Kampala and even chicks from Kampala. And these are things that the young people of Kenya can actually bridge in. They can come in
and actually
bridge the gap because, yeah, go ahead.
They are complaining that the market, when it comes to the poultry product, is already flooded, and it's flooded not with our products from Kenya, as they put it,
Precisely.
But they say these products come from outside, and so it gives the farmers, when it comes to poultry farming, a very difficult time to pass through the thick market that they have for their products.
Precisely, yes, and that is one of the reasons that I feel that the government of Kenya really needs to probably step up in terms of protecting our local farmers, so that we're able to utilize the capacity that we have within the country. I think that would pretty much cover the questions, unless there's something I missed.
That's clear, and there is one question, if you can get it done, from Sylvia Gitari. From Sylvia Gitari. Great ideas. I doubt if that's a question, but anasema great ideas about pooling resources to raise capital for the projects. That is one of the biggest challenges that face the youth when starting. Thank you very much, Sylvia, for that comment. And we get the question from Millicent. From Millicent. Crop diseases, animal infection have been a major problem, lowering yield in agriculture, hence affecting the business. This has discouraged many youth. What's your takeaway for them about this, about infections and crop diseases, because it discourages them from getting involved in this agribusiness field?
That's a very good question, Millicent. I mean, I would probably first of all start off by saying that I mean, everything that we try to do comes a lot of challenges. I don't think there's anything that has ever come out of work that does not come with challenges. So crop disease, as you say, is actually a challenge. For agriculture, fortunately, there's a lot of research that has been done around different crops, different form of farming techniques. There's a lot of research that has been done for those who are doing cattle rearing. So most, if not all the diseases that are prevailing in the market, there is research and there is possibly a remedy to handle some of these diseases. Agriculture, interesting enough, is not one of those businesses that you start off and then put your hands off and wait for the yield. You really need to be on the ground. You really need to continuously monitor. You really need to be able to understand if you are keeping kale, sukuma wiki, for instance, at what point should I be spraying them? At what point should I be adding fertilizer? So Millicent, there's a lot of research around what we are currently keeping in terms of agriculture in Kenya. I would really advise those who really want to get into this kind of business to understand what they want to do, to understand what remedies are there to handle some of the different diseases that arise, to be able to improve your yield at the end of the farming season.
Thank you very much for that answer. And as you said, it involves a lot of research. And your farm, that's Kijani Testing, you really go deep when it comes to research product, and we'll be talking more about your organization, Kijani Testing, in a few. And if you can get comments also from other viewers, we have the comment from Enosh, that's Bravin Alan. I'm in, nice talk, very encouraging to us youth. Thank you very much, Bravin Alan. Hopefully you are watching us from Moi University main campus in Eldoret. Bado uko Siaya. Thank you very much. Grace Mwangi, tuned in, good vibes, watching us live from Facebook. And if you can get the question, that's from Sylvia Gitari, following from Nyeri. And if you get other questions from Enosh Opio, if you can run that. Yes, as we wait for the question that Enosh asked, we get the reaction from Jason Sagini. It's sad that we import products when we have the full capacity to produce our own. Thank you very much, Jason. And that's a very sad state of affairs in our country as we speak today. And this brings me to this question that I really wanted to bring to you, Mr. Moses, and it ties itself to this question that Enosh is asking. And we have donor funding. And remember, all these people, at the end of the day, they must write their proposals and present them to either some of the donors, be it locally or even internationally. And with the current rate of our corruption in the country, it's really painting our sectors, different sectors of our economy, a very bad image to the global scene. And here comes the question from Opio Enosh. Corruption will not end soon in Kenya. What do you think we can do as youth in order to continue and do well with our agricultural projects? Moses.
Yeah, unfortunately, the scourge of corruption, as Enosh probably put it, is not going to come to an end anytime soon. That in essence does not mean that we stop with what we're doing to wait for corruption to come to a close. What I would encourage young people like Enosh is start off with what you can, get the ball rolling, try as much as possible to ensure that you have enough knowledge of what you want to get into, what sort of farming do you want to do before you actually venture into it. I would also think that despite the issue of corruption that is in this country, I feel and I've seen from experience that if you do your farming properly and you're able to yield at the end of the day, there is a very high chance of you being able to actually dispose of your products in terms of being able to sell it. I know the major challenge at times tend to occur when you've got products in the farm that are ready for market. The greatest issue normally tends to be, I think, one of the research and one of the things we witnessed in our office from Nairobi and our farmers based in central Kenya is that you find that there's tomatoes in the farm ready for market, but then the ability to move the tomatoes from the market from the farm to the market is a huge challenge. For it, particularly during the rainy season, there's a big problem because you find that the roads are so messed up, you're not able to move your products. And these are challenges that are going to be there. They're not going to stop anytime soon, as Enoch says. But that does not mean that the young people should give up in agriculture. Everything that we do has got its own challenges. My suggestion would be take heart, keep on keeping on. Hopefully things should be able to make sense at the end of the day. What still gives me hope is that agribusiness has a potential of up to $1 trillion US by the year 2030. I mean, the year 2030 is not far. I think it's about 8 or so years from now. And we don't want young people to be left behind when this agricultural transformation is taking place in Africa. So let us keep on trying the best that we can in terms of agribusiness.
Thank you very much, Moses, on that elaborate explanation. When it comes to matters corruption, it will always be there, but we are the youth, we are the change that the society needs. And when we practice it right, we'll for sure change how people see us. We have Ruth Akinyi watching us live from Nairobi, and we have the question from Daniel Jaka, if you can get that. What are the forecasted changes in the structure of agribusiness in the future? And also, what kind of support should initiate to particularly if you can get the first part of the question. Initiate to particularly motivate the youth on agribusiness. Yes. If you got that.
Yes. So the first part of the question is about the potential structural changes that are going to occur in agribusiness. I mean, the greatest one is the mechanical changes that are taking place. I talked about, for instance, relying on solar-powered water pumps as opposed to rain-fed agriculture. We've seen cases where innovators have come up with small equipments, what they normally call mini pivot. Mini pivot is a modernized form of sprinkler, which is very, very good for small-scale farmers. So there's a lot of changes taking place in terms of equipment and innovations being designed to make agriculture more sustainable and more predictable, to be able to allow farmers to plan. In terms of how then do you support and motivate the youth to get into agribusiness, it takes me back to the initial point I'd mentioned about government should be a bit more alert in terms of protecting the Kenyan youth who are trying to do agribusiness in this country. I have a very strong belief that we should not be importing eggs or even chicks from our neighbors, because we have the capacity to do that. And the only way the young people can be encouraged to produce in that large scale that is needed in the Kenyan market is if the government of Kenya can introduce some sort of protections to support the local businesses. And these are things that happen even in this country. For instance, if you look at the motor vehicle industry, you cannot import a car in Kenya that is older than 8 years, if I'm not wrong. And that does not mean that Kenya is manufacturing cars. We don't manufacture cars, but we are doing that so that we can protect the people who are trying to introduce car manufacturing in Kenya. So these are the kind of support that the government should introduce for agribusiness. Protect the local farmers, protect the young people who are trying to do agribusiness, and for sure we have the capacity to produce enough to meet our market needs.
Thank you very much for that. Hopefully, Daniel Jaka, you've been given an elaborate answer. And take us to the next question. That's from G-Boy Ross, anasema, we as youth need to adapt agribusiness instead of looking for white-collar jobs. We need to be diverse. Thank you very much for that. And I think that explains the question or the points that you've given us, Bwana Moses. G-Boy anasema, I'm loving it. Good job. Asante sana from Shali Wambinya. This is true. The Kenyan government should protect the local farmers and create opportunities for them to sell their products first before considering outsourcing products that are readily available. Thank you very much, Shali. And that's just an echo of whatever thing we've been discussing here. And we have Presenter Mokaya, explicit insights there. Asante sana, Bwana Moses. Let's keep producing. We have a huge market. And we have G-Boy Ross anasema, can the youth of today really adapt agribusiness in this century, full of slave queens who doesn't even know how to handle a jembe? Watching from Nairobi. Slave queens and kings wamejaza mtaa, na nashangaa kama hao wanaweza shika jembe na waende shambani wakalime. Yes, that brings me to this question, Bwana Moses, before we get the next question from the viewer. From the census that we had, that's the 2019 census, we get that we have the average age of a farmer in Kenya is 60%, is 60 years. So, to me, if that's the average age of a farmer, ni wale watu wako ushago. Tumeachia masuala ya ukulima iwe ya mashosh huko ushago. Our vijana vile Jibo yanauliza, is there a way they can be made, or can there be a shift and it be a very vigorous shift to ensure that they start practicing and embracing the art of agriculture? Nini inaweza fanywa ili tusije tukategemea wale ambao wamezeeka tayari? At 60 years tunasema our life expectancy in Kenya in a range within that time. Ukipita hapo ni bonus umepewa na Mwenyezi Mungu. So sisi kama vijana, kama tuko na nguvu, how can we turn our energy into this agriculture?
Yes, that's a good question. I think I alluded to it earlier on about the perception that is out there that farming is for the elderly as opposed to the young people. I'm privileged to sit at a position where I'm able to see the sort of innovation that is coming in for farming. Interestingly enough, most of this innovation are things that are designed by young people. So they're coming up with technology that is user friendly for the young people. I'll give an instance where there's a very beautiful software that's been developed, an app of some sort that it helps a farmer know when to irrigate. It helps a farmer know how much water is enough, when to when to add fertilizer, and when to put the pesticides and so on. And these are things that only the young people will understand. I mean, there are very few people beyond plus the age of 60 who would understand some of these applications that are coming up to support agriculture. So really and honestly, there is innovation that is coming in designed specifically to encourage young people to get into agri farming, designed to make work more user friendly and more acceptable to the young people, designed to meet the needs of the young people that we have in the market and those who want to be involved in agribusiness. I mean, that is one of the best ways of getting these young people to buy into the idea of agribusiness. I mean, it's getting to a point where it is no longer going to be an issue of djembe and just a piece of land. We are trying to get agriculture to a point where we are able to use innovation and technology to make it more attractive to young people and to help us also improve the yield that comes out from our farms. So I think, Cleophas, that would be one of the best way to encourage young people to join into agribusiness.
Thank you very much. And we had a question from Bill Okinda, who was asking if we can get that question. And Auliza, can agribusiness be practiced in a metropolitan area, metropolitan environment like Nairobi?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes, in terms of practicing in a metropolitan area is pretty much okay. I mean, Nakuru is metropolitan. There's a lot of space in Nakuru you can farm. Nairobi as a city, it is very difficult to practice agriculture there unless you're doing it's called backyard agriculture, which is a very small scale because of the issue of space utilization. Most of space in Nairobi has been utilized for infrastructure. I mean, unless you're talking about the environs around Nairobi, maybe stretching to Kitengela and a bit of into Machakos, then you can have a bit of space to do agriculture. But I think within the city, it is it's a bit difficult.
Yeah, I think that's well explained. And if you are within Nairobi metropolitan area, we were just given the map of Nairobi metropolitan area, and we know how far it goes. And some go even to Kiambu County, and we know the level of agriculture in Kiambu, and even the kind of farming people in Kajiado do, and those in Machakos, whatever thing they do. So thank you very much for that. And I'd like to know, Mr. Moses, if it comes to registration of such a business, because for you to be legally operating a business in this country, you must have that proper registration. And so with all these bureaucratic systems that we have in our country, so many protocols to follow, so many youth are so lazy to follow them. What advice can you give to them when it comes to registration of their businesses or even their companies to support the Agribusiness Act?
Yes, it is in terms of registering a business, particularly for young people who are just trying to take off. I would really not advise them to get into registration of a company. That is slightly high level business engagement. The best I would advise, as I alluded before, is form a group of young people, 5 or 6 people with a common goal. Register a self-help group with the departments of social services. Registration of a self-help group is very easy. I think it costs about 1,000 shillings, and then do your farming under the umbrella of the self-help group. So then you're even going to be able to open a company, I mean, a bank account with the self-help group. So you're able to use that as an opportunity to give yourself a stepping stone. The advantage with the self-help group is that you are saving yourself from a lot of nitty-gritty details that are attached to a limited company. So a self-help group would be a very good starting point for young people who are willing to come together and venture into agribusiness. And then, of course, as you grow and as you stabilize, you can always decide to transform into either a partnership or even a limited company. At that point, you're able to bring in more resources that are needed to let the operations run as a company.
Thank you very much. And I would like to know, that's the comment from Millicent Akisema. Thank you so much for your response, Mr. Moses. I'm really so much into agriculture. In fact, my next project is on early crop disease detection and controlling at an early stage. That's Millicent Ochieng watching us live from Rwanda, Kigali, Rwanda, the Center of Excellence. We have Joshua Boit joining us from India. Yes, and he is watching on YouTube. Akisema, we appreciate youngsters helping farmers to bring, is that comment? It ended there. Tuned in kutoka India. Thank you very much, Boit, brother, for joining this discussion. And so, Mr. Moses, some people have really asked if, because by the time I share that, those people who couldn't join this live discussion because of their various schedules at night. And there's one Frida Odunga. And if Frida Odunga joined us and Asema, can really the youth of this country, they're so much into loaning and debts. And one of our dailies today said, Fuliza made up to the youth, the jobless youth and the broke youth in Kenya, borrowed a loan of up to 2.47 billion on Fuliza loan. That's for Safaricom. To me, these people are they're really into the art of loaning and also taking these debts. Would you advise someone to take a loan to start this agribusiness? Or are there avenues where they can go and get the proper funding? If it can even be agricultural finance corporation or any other bank that they would like to get assistance from. Would you advocate for loans to start such a business?
For loaning, particularly to start agribusiness, is something I would really not recommend to anyone. Loans in itself, loans are good if they're being used for something that is productive. But taking a loan to start off agribusiness is not a very good way to go about it. Again, I still advocate for young people coming together in groups of 5 or 6 and pulling the little resources that they have available to get them started. It is easier to seek a loan when you're already in the process of farming. You're now needing money that probably will help you get your products ready for market, at which point you're going to be able to pay, as opposed to seeking a loan at the beginning. So in my view, it is easier for young people to come together, pull the little resources that you have as a group and start off with that, so that when you start getting into the idea of seeking a loan, let the loan be about helping you to move to the next level, as opposed to using the loan to be a starting point for you. So for a start, I wouldn't recommend young people to take loans to start off with. Start off as a team, let each and everyone pull the resources available, get the ball rolling. Then as the ball roll, let the loan come as an accelerator to a ball that is already rolling.
Wow, what a strong insights from you, Moses. Let the loan come just as an accelerator of whatever business you've started. And on that note, we bring to your attention that if you're joining us live for the first time in this platform, this is the Alternative Voice, where we give you a chance to speak and to talk to us on matters youth, and also to engage on several matters as far as our country is concerned. We are almost into the 45th minute past 8 p.m. and we'll be soon bringing this discussion to an end. And before that, I would like to give this opportunity to you, Moses, to tell us more on Kijani Testing, because you really work on the research and your research on the market where various products being brought into the country are being used. So tell us more about your organization, and that's Kijani Testing, and how we can get you.
Oh, yes. So Kijani Testing, as the name suggests, we test innovative renewable energy products, particularly biased towards helping improve farming in developing markets. So what we realized that there's all this beautiful innovation coming up from the Western world, but the challenge with these equipments that are being designed in the Western world is that they are meant to be used in Africa. So you realize that a product comes to Africa and it doesn't meet the needs of the African market. So Kijani Testing is trying to bridge that gap between what the innovator produces and what the end user in Africa offers. So we are very much biased towards renewable energy. We don't deal with anything to do with what they call dirty energy, to be precise, anything with diesel and so on and so forth. We work with people who are developing equipment that are designed to make agriculture more user-friendly, particularly making it more attractive to the young people. The current setup that we have is that our equipments or the products that come down for testing in Kenya are actually issued to young people who are keen in agribusiness. So for instance, if there is a solar-powered water pump that is supposed to be tested, we'd rather look for Cleophas in a semi-urban area or even in a rural area who is doing farming and say, look, man, we are going to give you this pump. Try use this pump in your farming. We're not charging you anything. The only thing we're doing is we're trying to see the tenacity of this pump and how well can it impact you in terms of the farming project that you're working on. So that is basically what Kijani does. We are really trying as much as possible to help innovators and at the same time to encourage young people and to get them into farming to be more productive people in the economy. Our offices, our head offices for Kijani Testing is in Kisumu. This is because we are doing a lot of test runs in the western part of the country. We also have a satellite office in Nairobi, which handles our central province farmers and eastern farmers. I think, yeah, that is pretty much it about Kijani. Our website, you can get more details on the website. As you can see, it is scrolling down on your screen.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Moses. And from the Alternative Voice crew, we really wish you the very best in your farm. And that's Kijani Testing head office in Kisumu off Ring Road. That's next to Tom Mboya in Milimani, and the branch in Nairobi, Ngong Road, Joseph Kang'ethe Street, yeah, or next to Woodley. So you can get them on their social media platforms for you to get such opportunities to test your product as soon as you get them in the country, to continue practicing safe agriculture and safe farming and going green in whatever thing we do to promote the use of renewable energy in our farming. Thank you very much, and thanks for your time once more, Bwana Moses, for honoring the invite to join us tonight in this discussion. For me, on my end, I've been your host, Cleophas Oluoch. Till we meet next time, let's keep engaging on our social media platforms at The Alternative Voice on Twitter, at Official Alternative Voice on Facebook, at The Alternative Voice on Instagram, and at The Alternative Voice on YouTube. Till next time, you have yourself a good night, and may God protect you, and remember to keep safe in this COVID-19 pandemic season. God bless.
Mtaani Quick Auto Spa. We welcome you to Mtaani Quick Auto Spa. Our services include pressure wash, steam wash, snow foam and gentle hand wash, wheel and rim cleaning, tire shine, engine and body wash, vacuum, carpet cleaning, and much more. We apply encapsulation cleaning method to attack all forms of dirt and debris, which guarantee you the best results. We are consistent on quality services at affordable prices. Book an appointment now. You can call, text, DM, or WhatsApp 0710 587 285. And we will come to you. All payments will be via M-Pesa Paybill 731-1341. Follow us on our social media platforms at Mtaani Quick Auto Spa. Welcome to Ahava Medical Center. We are located at Konamaji, Manyata, opposite Kisumu Elite Academy, Kisumu County. At Ahava, we offer general and specialist consultations, laboratory services, pharmacy, mother and child clinic. We also offer inpatient and maternity services including Linda Mama. And soon, opening up our theater services. We accept NHIF and other insurance companies. Choose Ahava Medical Center as your facility of choice today. Call us on 0714-815-323. Follow us on Facebook at Ahava Medical Center, Kisumu. Ahava Medical Center, healthcare with compassion.